Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing my out-of-box review for the HGUC Byarlant Isolde. Now, so this is of course just the P-Bandai variation kit of the Byarlant Custom, and this is from the Twilight Axis, let's call it a mini-series. Anyway, it's just now molded in pink and purple with yellow accents, and it has a new head, some new arms, and some new feet and front ankle armor, and otherwise it's pretty much exactly the same, but there is some stuff to like. Oh, it does have a new back skirt as well, which falls off very easily, and I'm sure it'll fall off when we're going over the articulation. That's the other problem. This kit doesn't really want to stand up well on its own. Well, there we go, that's better. This kit does look much better on an action base anyway, just because of the weird angles you have to have everything at to try to get it to balance. Standing up is just not really going to be looking its best in that pose, so it's much better like this up on action base. So it would have been nice if it would have included one, but of course it did not. So what you do get in this is, like I said, those new parts that I mentioned, and not a whole lot else. You don't get any marking stickers or water slide decals. Unfortunately, it would have been nice, but you don't. You just get some regular stickers, and those are going to be going in some parts there. You'll see the yellow stripes there on the top of the shoulders, the yellow stripes on the front of the feet, a couple of little black markings just to fill in some vents on the front skirt, on the front of the legs, and then you of course have a sticker there for the eyes as well. A couple of red stickers to go inside the vents, like underneath the arms, and then inside the parts on like the thruster binder things on the sides, the far outsides of the arms. So it does have some stickers in there. Nothing really too bad, I'd say, if you do want to paint in those yellow lines for the shoulder and for the front of the feet. Those aren't going to be too difficult to mask, I think so. Overall, not too bad in terms of the stickers. The kit itself, in terms of its construction, is really nice. I really love the HGUC Byarlant kit, so this is the third version of the kit that I own, and I don't regret that at all. So let's talk a little bit about the articulation of this guy, because it's got stuff that moves all over the place. So the head will go up really nice and far to there. Even at this really high angle, it's going to be hard to see the stickers in there for the eyes, but there is a foil sticker in there for the eyes. Head can go down all the way to there. The shoulder here at the base will move up and down a little bit, forward and back a little bit, rotate a little bit, and then this fin underneath will also move up and down a little bit as well. Here's where you have a big red sticker for the inside of that. Cool detail with the thruster bells up underneath there. Here at the outside of the arm you have a ball joint on the inside and on the outside. So this part on the outside is just on a ball joint that can move around everywhere like that. Here's where you have a couple more red stickers inside of that part. This side, however, is a red piece. And then the whole arm itself will move and rotate here like that. Rotation and bend here at the top of the arm. At the elbow joint you have just a little bit more than a 90-degree bend there. The claw is on a ball joint, so you can move that around a little bit, but not really much. Up in the bicep here is where the beam saber handle is stored. So it's kind of hard to get out, but you can pull that out, and there's your beam saber handle there. In the torso you also have a little light pink sticker that wraps around that vent, so that red vent in the side of the torso there. The outside of that is supposed to be the same as like this color here, so that's a sticker that wraps around the outside of that to cover that. Otherwise the outside of that vent would also be red. Not really too much of articulation here for a stomach crunch or side to side, but you just can rotate there at the waist. Front skirt obviously non-existent here, black sticker in the top part of that. Side skirts though, if you can call them that, these parts here will move a little bit up and down. Back skirt, obviously no movement there, but this is the part that, like I said, falls off very easily. While we're here, let's take a look at the backpack. At the main connection at the center, this part will move side to side and also up and down a little bit, but it kind of hits into the shoulder, so there's not much room for that to move. The outer fuel tank can also move up and down, side to side, rotate all around like that. This part here at the base can rotate, and then these doors can open up like that for the thrusters in the backpack. Back around to the front, the legs will rotate at the top. You can bring that up nice and far. Unfortunately, they don't go very wide. You can really only get them to about there, and it's about maybe 90 degrees. When we bend the knee, you can see you get a pretty good bend there. It's a double joint. You don't get like a really full bend, but just because of the shape of these parts, you can't really get that. But nice separation here with this knee armor being separated as well. Again, a couple of black stickers here on the front of the leg. Yellow sticker, of course, going down the front of the foot. The ankle will move side to side just a little bit, not really too much. But just concerning the new parts, I like this much larger front ankle armor there and the much longer, pointier toes. The back of the foot, though, is very Cubile-esque with this very big bulbous back of the foot. Not really a big fan of that, to be honest, so I might try to use different parts for that, some of the leftover parts. But you can move the ankle forward to about there and back to there. Not much, but you can point the toe down. So the actual ankle movement is kind of a little bit limited, but the toe movement there helps a lot. Up underneath the foot, there's not a lot of detail there, but there's also no hollow spaces, so that's nice. On the back of the leg, a nice thruster up underneath there, up underneath this kind of long part that's sticking out there in the back. And then as far as accessories, it really doesn't have much. It just has a couple of holding hands. These are just option hands for holding the beam saber handles. And then 2 clear blue beam saber effect parts, and that's pretty much it. It's kind of basically its only weapon. So here go all 3 of them together, the Byarlant Custom, the Byarlant Custom 2, and then the Byarlant Isolde. Really cool variations here, just kind of slight variations to them, some more noticeable than others. Luckily, between all the leftover parts from the Custom 2 and leftover parts from the Isolde, there's just a lot of different options that I think that I can do between all of those leftover parts. So probably what I'll end up doing with the Isolde is it'll be a little bit of a Frankenstein. I'll probably mix and match some of the parts to my particular liking, because I'm not really particularly tied to the design of the Isolde. There's some of the new parts that I like and some that I don't really care for. For example, the arms, not really that big of a fan of the arms, to be honest, so I'll probably change those. For example, I have the leftover, these are spare parts from the Custom 2. These are the arms of the regular Custom, so I can probably use these and attach them onto the Isolde. I'll try that at the end of this review, just to make sure that'll work, but it should work, and I should have all the parts to do that, to do some customizing here. So again, from the Isolde, you have a whole bunch of leftover parts, so there's a lot of stuff you can do with that. One of the things that I like about this design, and in turn these kits, is that they're pretty large. It's a pretty big HG kit. Not only is it just kind of big and bulky, but it's also quite wide, so it's going to be definitely an attention grabber among other 1/144 scale kits. On the negative side of that size, though, and again, just due to the design, the way that it attaches onto an action base is really weird. It has this kind of weird part, because on the underside of the skirt, where you would, on the underside of the waist, I should say, where you would normally attach an action base connector, whatever the style may be, there's some like pipe detail there, so there's kind of, those are kind of in the way. So you have this connection piece that's kind of weird. It kind of grabs around the pipes onto there, and then it has this extra stem, and it just makes it an extra long connection there to connect up onto that, and it doesn't seem to be the most stable, as you may notice, as tends to happen with other kits as well, but especially with this one, this is definitely rocking a little bit on my base just because of that connection there. But aside from that weird goofy connection and the fact that it doesn't really want to stand up by itself, it does have a few seam lines on there. There's a few seam lines like for the parts on the backpack, for the shoulders, for the arms, and for the thighs, I guess, on like the side of the thighs as well. So it does have quite a few seam lines on it, but in the case of this kit, where other kits I would hold it more against it, but in this kit it's such an odd design, and a lot of the parts are quite big. So I think the way that is designed, I think for those parts in HG scale, there just wouldn't really be any way to avoid seam lines on those areas. So I think maybe adding more detail and turning some of those seam lines into like panel lines or something could have been possible, but I'm not really going to get too upset about it in this case, as that would be pretty relatively easy to eliminate as well. So just keep that in mind. It's got some seams, but I wouldn't really let that dissuade you from buying it. Now, because this is a premium Bandai kit, I can really only recommend it if you're a really big fan of the design. If you're not like super sold on the design, then you're probably not going to want to pay the extra price for it being a P-Bandai variant. If you already have the regular Byarlant Custom and you really like it, then, you know, you may be like me and you want to get another version of it, or you might like to use it for just all the different parts and stuff that you can use to make it kind of however you like. But if you're someone who doesn't have any version of the HGUC Byarlant at all, I would definitely recommend at least picking up just the regular Byarlant Custom. It's just a standard release kit. It is a little bit more pricey. It's 2,600 yen for the list price. But like I said, it is a pretty big kit, so I definitely think it's worth it. I would definitely recommend picking up at least one of the variants if you never have before. It's something that when people ask me like what's a good kit or like what's one of my favorite kits, this is actually one of my favorite HG kits for sure. I just really like the look of it. It's just a really unique design and just quite cool, I think. It also helps by the fact of how awesome it was in the Unicorn OVA. Not this particular version, of course. I'm talking about the Byarlant Custom that appeared in the Torrington base battle in the Unicorn series. So if you guys haven't seen that, it's definitely worth checking out. It's a pretty awesome scene. if you weren't sold on the design before, that battle will probably sell you on wanting to pick up one of those kits. But anyway, I'm happy with this kit. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. Leave any other questions you have there as well, and I'll try to answer those as best I can. In the meantime, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Oh, and by the way, I definitely like the look of just the regular custom arms on it a lot better. So gonna stick with these arms. So if anyone wants to buy these Isolde arm parts off of me, just send me a message, let me know. Thanks for watching. See you next time.